So Monster Hunter Wilds is finally out, and yeah, I want it just as bad as you do. But here's the thing, I'm broke. So I cop Monster Hunter World instead, cheaper, classic, and still an absolute banger. This is 100 days in Monster Hunter World, from baby Jagras to big bad elder dragons. We're grinding, fainting, and fighting our way through the new world. Let's see if I can survive, or if I just become Monster Chow. Let's go, let's get hunting.
Once you
We're on this massive ship, drifting across the sea with all sorts of hunters on board. First thing I do, create my character, named him Rifu. Just felt right. For my palico, I went with snow. White fur, soft vibes, fits perfectly. Not long after, I meet my handler. She's basically my quest
You're on the
partner,
A-list,
the
right?
one who gives out the missions. Everything's calm until it's not. A huge monster crushes the party and breaks out on the ship. Next thing I know, I'm waking up outside, no clue how I got there. I get up, start climbing this high path through a cliffside. Then I spot my handler again.
Oh, hey, it's you! Look what happened to the ship! We have to do something!
We're both still in one piece. We climb higher and suddenly I'm sliding down a slope, then grappling on the leg of a wyvern mid-flight. So it was that kind of day. The wyvern carries us deep into the ancient forest. As we land, I pull out my map. The handler tells me we're heading to the research base called Astera, our new home base. So we start walking, and the forest, it's stunning, lush, vibrant, and alive. You can feel the energy of the place, but deeper in, the calm breaks. Jagras start showing up, surrounding us, and I had to hide in a huge plant just to stay out of sight.
Come on. Hurry!
Once they clear out, we keep moving and we spot some monster tracks. And then suddenly, the great Jagras show up and snatches my handler. I was ready to step in, but luckily, another hunter beat me to it and saved the day. We make our way to the base gates, but of course, one more monster tries to block the way. I push through.
Come on!
jump!
And finally, we're in Astera. Inside the Vibe ships, it's busy, alive, full of purpose. I meet the commander, the one in charge. The field team leader gives us the tour, shops, gear stations, blacksmiths, everything I'll need. And yes, I found my palico again. Snow was already making himself at home. I head over to my camp and pick my main weapon. Great sword, heavy, powerful, hits hard. It's not the fastest, but when it lands, it lands. After that, I'll link back up with the hunter to pick up my very first quest. And just like that, the hunt begins. Alright, for my first quest, it was a pretty simple hunt. I was sent out to take down some Jagras, these guys right here. Yes, they were the target. Took care of them one by one, so no problem. Then next is the Kestodon, a bit tougher but still manageable. These are the ones that look like walking tanks. Took a few hits to bring them down, but I handled it. At this point, I was still dealing with basic monsters, nothing too crazy yet, just getting warmed up, learning the ropes, but after finishing up those hunts, that's when things started to change.
Kestodon. Something's up with him. Now!
What the fudge is that? The great Jagras straight up and swallowed a Kestodon, who right in front of me. That's when things got real. No more warm-up hunts. This was the start of hunting this big boy, and honestly, way more exciting. Right then and there, I decided I'm going after this great Jagra. I had eyes on it already, so no point going back to Astera and risking losing track. Besides, I felt ready. I had my great sword equipped and I knew I could handle it. I followed its tracks through the forest, keeping an eye on those footprints, and when I finally caught up to it, boom! First large monster hunt officially started. I went all in, no holding back. At one point, I even mounted the Jagra, slashing from the top, trying to bring it down. Every hit felt intense. That final charge strike from the great sword, so satisfying when it lands. But man, it's frustrating when it doesn't. The wind up is so long because the sword's crazy heavy. But hey, when it connects, it hurts a lot. Right here, I'm really going all in fighting this great Jagra. Every hit I land is solid, and finally, I take it down. First large monster hunt quest complete. Now it's time to carve up some Jagra's parts. I got myself some hides and all sorts of stuff I can use to craft new gears later on. Not bad, right? After the great Jagra's fight, we took a little stroll. And guess what? We ran into a brand new monster, the Pukei-Pukei. And yes, that's the next one on my hit list. But before diving into that fight, I went ahead and crafted a great Jagra's great sword. And man, the color on that thing, goddamn! So that's what I bought into the next battle. Now this Pukei-Pukei dude, totally different from the great Jagras. It flies, it got wild colors, and it spits out all kinds of smoke and mystery stuff. If you get hit by that and boom, you're poisoned. So yes, make sure you bring some antidotes or it's game over real quick. Anyway, I went in, gave it a good fight, and yes, I ended up taking it down a few times, so no big deal. After the fight, I headed straight to the gear workshop to Smithy to craft myself some Pukei-Pukei armor. Gotta look that part right? Then I decided to switch things up a bit and made an insect glaive. And yes, it's got poison, made from the Pukei-Pukei itself. So now, I'm not just stylish, I'm toxic too, in the best way possible. Next up, I headed to the Wildspire Waste for an escort mission. Me and my handler on a little desert field trip. And of course, new area means new monsters. And this time, I'm up against a beast called Barrot. Big, crusty, and built like a tank, with a head made of pure armor and bad vibes. Seriously, hitting its head felt like smacking a concrete wall with a wet noodle. The twist, my guy decided to take a mud bath mid-fight and not the spa kind. That mud hardened on him like a second armor, which made the battle even more annoying. But hey, I finally got to try out my new insect glaive. It doesn't hit like a truck, but man, I'm zipping around the place like a caffeine ninja. Way more fun than lugging around a great sword. Less damage, more style. Anyway, back to Barrot. This monster was tough. Like, if you don't dodge, you're sleeping on the ground. Tough. His headbutts hit harder than my motivation on Mondays. Mid-fight, things got extra spicy when two monsters started brawling right in front of me. It was like watching a kaiju wrestling match. That's when I saw the next target, the Gyrotarus, or as like I to call it, that mudfish whose name I'm still not 100 sure how to pronounce. Looks like a giant angry catfish with attitude. But first, I had to track down this poor young scholar who somehow got separated from the escort squad. Found him eventually, but of course, the plot twist, a monster shows up right on cue. Guess who? Fighting a fish in the mud next. This guy. Alright, so this time, I went after the Gyrotarus, the one that spits out mud, or some kind of mystery liquid, whatever it is. If it hits you, your stamina drains super fast whenever you move. It's kinda like a barrot with the mud. But this one's fully submerged and lives in the water. So yeah, I did what had to be done. I hunted it down, whacked it with my trusty insect glaive, and yes, the monster down. Just another day in the new world. Oh, and this was actually my first time capturing a monster too. I finally made some trunk bomb, you know, the sleepy time special for monsters. Super handy, way less hassle than going all out and fighting to the death. Just bonk in a bit, throw in some sleepy juice, and voila! Mission accomplished. The chill way. For my next hunt, I headed over to the ancient forest to take on Tobi-Kadachi. This guy is seriously quick, super agile, climb trees like it's nothing, and suddenly dives at you with its tail like a furry ninja. And of course, when it gets angry, it starts lighting up with a thunder. It's wild. The cool part is I can turn it to armor and even a new weapon later on. So yes, there I was fighting Tobi-Kadachi, and wow, its damage hurts more than I expected. It actually knocked me out. I fainted. But you know how it is. I just got back up and kept fighting. No quitting here. Also, I realized I could finally use the Ghillie Mantle. Basically, it makes the monster think you're elite. Ultimate camouflage mode. I tried using the environment too. Like, I dropped this big boulder, hoping it crushed the Tobi-Kadachi. But yeah, it totally missed. Classic me. Anyway, after a long fight, that thing finally started getting weak. And at last, I took it down. Another one bites the dust. After that fight, I swung by the botanist, and finally, I can start planting stuff. Now I can grow all sorts of things like honey, which means I can craft a ton of mega potions. No more worrying about running out mid-hunt. Feels good to have my own little potion farm going. Before heading out on my next hunting quest, I stopped by the canteen to grab a bite. And hey, it's been upgraded. Looks way fancier now. And the food gives even better stat boost. Gotta love the pre-hunt power up. After that, I went back to the Asian forest to hunt a real tough monster. Anjanath. This guy massive, breathes fire, and if you get hit, yeah, you're basically a barbecued, including your sensitive bits. So yeah, I had to be super careful not to get caught. But it's charge attacks. Some of them are basically a one-hit delete. But of course, we're not backing down from Anjanath. We fight, and yes, after a wild battle, I finally took it down. When I got back to Astera, things were getting serious. Everyone was prepping for the Zora Magdaros mission. We've got to drive that thing away or it's gonna be a huge threat not just to us hunters, but to everyone in Astera. So here, I took a quick food break first. Got a fuel up, you know? Then I jumped back into the quest where we're finally trying to stop Zora Magdaros. But man, this monster really doesn't wanna be stopped. We started throwing everything at it. Catapults, cannons, you name it. I even went full on core destroyer mode and broke those magma cores to try and weaken it a bit. Felt like I was doing work until surprise guest appearance. Nergigante. And yes, an elder dragon just casually crashing the party like, what's up? Our job now? Kick him off Zora before he makes things worse. Spoiler alert, he made things worse and I actually got wrecked. Like straight up deleted. This guy's no joke. And after all that, we still couldn't stop Zora Magdaros. He just kept going like, yeah nah, I'm out of here. After that, we decided to head up to where all that Zora Magdaros chaos went down earlier. And that's when we discovered the Coral Highlands. But of course, nothing goes smoothly. We ended up falling down somewhere again. Good news though, someone actually found us after that dramatic fall. And when we woke up, we were already at the research base in the Coral Highlands. Shout out to whoever rescued us. There, we met the Third Fleet Master. Pretty cool, right? Kinda mysterious vibe. So that's also when I started my first expedition around the Coral Highlands. And guess who shows up? The Zitsiyaku, aka the Walking Flashbang. This thing basically blinds you with its move like it's trying to take you out with a strobe light. While exploring, I was also looking for a spot to set up a new camp. And luckily, I managed to find a good campsite location. Once that was all settled, I headed back. Mission kinda sorta accomplished. So yeah, they gave me the glider mantle here. Finally, right after that, I headed back to Coral Highlands to hunt down Panlumu. Now this monster, it's basically a flying balloon with wings. When it puffs itself up, it floats around like it's in a parade or something. And then boom, it drops on you out of nowhere like it's trying to pancake you. Oh, it also blows out strong gusts of wind
Nice work,
like it's trying to
partner.
be the weather.
Let's hurry back
Wasn't
to the
really that
research
hard
base.
fighting this
I'm
monster,
starving.
to be honest, and in the end, I managed to capture it too. Clean and easy, just how we like it. So here, the third fleet master just asked me if I was heading to the Rotten Vale already. But before all that, I made a quick stop at the Wildspire waste to gather some supplies, grab some sleep herbs and parashrooms to craft a fruit trunk bomb. Always gotta be prepared, right? After that, off we went to the Rotten Vale. First thing we saw there was a great gyros, just vibing and eating. But we kinda had to shoo it away since we were setting up a camp in the area. While wandering deeper into the vale, I came across a Raduba. And yes, I had to fight him too. And if you get hit by that, he releases this white smoke, you will be gonna sleep for a few seconds. On top of that, he's tanky as heck. His whole body covered in bones. Makes sense though, the Rotten Vale is basically a monster graveyard. It's nasty down there. Bones everywhere like Halloween came early. Anyway, I eventually put him to sleep and captured him too. And we also ran into that mystery woman who helped us earlier. Turns out she's from the first fleet. So we were just about to go hunting for Zora Magdaros tracks, like all set and ready to go. Then boom, Legiana crashes the party, so classic right? Had to take it down first before it started icing up the whole search operation. Now Legiana, this frosty diva, is an ice element monster. And when it hits you, your stamina just evaporates like blink and it's gone. It's basically the monster equivalent of a gym coach that doesn't believe in the rest days. Plus, yes, it flies. Of course, it does. Good thing I had the glider mantle by now. Since Legiana hangs out the highest peaks, I just rode the wind up there like a budget superhero, and instead of taking it down for good, I went for the chill route, literally, and captured it instead. Problem solved. We continued exploring another part of the Rotten Vale and finally found some tracks left by Zora. But of course, just our luck, a new monster showed up, a Odoragon. The first fleet hunter tried to help us out, but Odoragon was too much to handle alone, so I came back to lend a hand. This monster is no joke, it's fast, and if it's hard, I even managed to cut off its tail mid-fight, which felt pretty satisfying. It also has this nasty bleed effect where if you get hit and keep moving, your health starts dropping little by little. Really makes you want to just sit down and not breathe for a bit. But in the end, I managed to capture it way easier than dragging the fight out to the finish. Clean hunt, problem solved again. This is also where it was explained that the Rotten Vale actually provides nutrients for the Coral Highlands. It's kind of like a cycle. When monsters sense that they're near the end, they somehow end up in the Rotten Vale. It's a bit grim but also kind of fascinating. The place works like a natural compost pit. Monsters spawns on, and in turn, they help feed the ecosystem above. Just like fertilizer for plants, nature really has its own way of keeping things going. After that, I headed back to Astera to stop by the workshop. There I crafted some new armor using parts from Odoragon. Looking sharp now. My next quest was to find the first Wyverian to get the next clue. While I was on the hunt, we ran into a Rathalos, and let me tell you, it wasn't friendly. It started blasting us with the fire, but we managed to escape and eventually found the first Wyverian. So this Wyverian tells me that I'm not worthy yet. So real nice of him, huh? Saying I need to take down the top of the food chain in the ancient forest and Wildspire waste. Naturally, the meant fighting Rathalos and Jablos. And I didn't even bother going back to base, just straight into the action with Rathalos. So now, this fight was a bit of challenge. Turns out Rathalos doesn't just breathe fire, he also has poison. So not only was I getting burned, but I was also slowly dying from poison. The damage was brutal, but I had to finish it, so I captured him instead of killing him outright. Next up, I faced Diablos. And let me tell you, this one was tougher than Ratalos. Just I was getting into the fight, a random hunter decided to join in, so a big help. With their assistance, we managed to take down the Diablos much faster, so finally, the hunt was wrapped up. After that, we finally made our way to Zora Magdaros. Since we tracked it down, at this point, we threw everything we had at it. Absolutely all our power, because if we didn't, everything we worked would be ruined. I even got to use the Dragonator, which let me tell you hits like a freight train. That thing did some serious damage. After a long and intense battle, we finally managed to drive Zora off once and for all. It was a hard fight, but we did it. It's a big win. After our battle with Zora, I headed over to Wildspire Waste for an expedition. While I was there, I stumbled upon some Rathian tracks. But then, out of nowhere, I noticed a new enemy, the Pukei-Pukei. This one looked weird and had some pretty unique skills. Turns out, I was in a high rank now, so the monster part
Are you
had
okay?
this little plus
We
sign
should
next
head
to
back and
them.
report to the
And yes, that meant the monster hit harder too. After that, I had to track down a ton of Rathian tracks. So I ended up fighting a bunch of different monsters like Barot, Great Jagras, and Pukei-Pukei again. Between all these battles, I crafted a new armor set using Pukei-Pukei parts and even upgraded my weapon to a stronger, higher rank versions. For my last quest, to find the final Rathian tracks, I had to fight Anjanath, another high rank monster, which meant the damage was pretty insane. But in the end, I finally finished the hunt and got the last Rathian tracks another step closer. Once we figured out where the Rathian was, we headed straight there and turns out it was in the Coral Highlands. But we were not expecting this version. It was a pink Rathian, another one of those rare subspecies, I guess. So yeah, I had to fight it. And man, this thing had insanely tough skin. I kept trying to knock it down, but my weapon was getting dull real fast just from hitting it. That skin's no joke. And of course, just to make things harder, Legiana decided to randomly show up. So now I had two monsters to watch out for dodging attacks from both sides. At that point, I was just throwing everything I had into the fight. Full focus, no holding back. After a really rough battle, I finally managed to capture the pink Rathian. So this is the top one but a clean finish.
Monster subspecies.
After all that, the Admiral showed up, this time carrying some crystals with him. We were headed to the Elder's Recess, a whole new area filled with brand new monsters to check out. Our main goal was to find tracks of Nergigante, one of the elder dragons we needed to locate. While exploring, I came across all kinds of monsters like Dodogama, Lavasiot, and even a familiar face from the older games, the Uragaan. And yes, the classic Rolling Rock himself. While navigating through all that
Nergigante
chaos,
has been
I
here.
finally managed
We're
to
on the right
gather some
track.
of the Nergigante's tracks. Once I had enough, I headed back to report in. I headed over to the chief ecologist first to check on the Nergigante tracks. After that, I made a quick stop at the botanical research to collect some honey. Then went straight to the Elder's Recess. That's where I went to the area with the crystal barricade. And out of nowhere, I ran into a Nergigante, my first Elder Dragon hunt. And man, I wasn't ready for how wild its attacks were. You really had to stay on your toes. This isn't your typical monster. It flies up and just dives straight at you. And if it hits, that's basically a one shot, so I had to be super careful fighting it. And of course, it wasn't an easy fight, especially since my gear wasn't that great yet. My weapon and armor still needed a lot of work. But after a tough battle, I finally took Nergigante down. Then I found out I still needed to track more Elder Dragons, this time in the Ancient Forest, Wildspire Waste, and especially the Rotten Vale. Looks like this Elder Dragon hunt is just getting started. So I talked to the team field leader and the huntsman first to get updates on the Elder Dragon tracks. I started looking in the Ancient Forest. Took a bit time off there, not gonna lie. Then I moved on to the Wildspire Waste to look for more tracks. And finally, I went to the Rotten Vale, which honestly gave me a hard time. Out of nowhere, Devil Joe shows up, one of the toughest and OG monster in the Monster Hunter series. It was chaos. I even had to hide at some point, cause there were way too many threats. Devil Joe, Odoragon, and even Great Gyros, all hanging around the same area. So yeah, I had to be super careful and just focus on finding those tracks so we could move forward with the research. Once I confirmed that I had found all the Elder Dragon tracks, that's when the real hunt began, taking them down one by one. First up, I went for the one in the Elder's Recess deep in the lava zone, none other than Teostra, one of the fire-breathing Elder Dragons. This guy doesn't mess around. He breathes fire like crazy and has this move where he charges up and if you're too close when he lets it out. And then one hit KO and you're done. So yeah, I had to be super careful staying on my toes the whole fight. And of course, I made sure to bring some cold drinks cause the heat in that area is no joke. In the end, after a tough fight, I finally took Teostra down. Next up was Kushala Daura, another Elden Dragon. And man, this one gave me a really hard time. I ended up firing an SOS flare, hoping some random hunters would join in and help out. And finally, after what felt like forever of waiting and trying to survive, some hunters actually joined the quest. We teamed up and went after Kushala together. His main thing is wind, lots of it. It was a hard to even get close because of all the wind pressure pushing me back. And on top of that, he kept flying around making it even harder to land hits. But in the end, with teamwork and a lot of patience, we finally brought Kushala Daura down. After that whole struggle with Kushala, I decided to switch things up and farm Nergigante for a bit. I figured I use his parts to upgrade my weapon and armor. Cause honestly, just from that one Elder Dragon fight, I could already tell I needed way better gears. These monsters are not something you can just casually take down. So yeah, I had a Nergigante. A lot. Like a lot. It took almost the whole day cause I couldn't get the rare drops. But after a long grind session, I finally got what I needed. Geared up and got ready to face the final Elder Dragon, the Valhazak, deep in the Rotten Vale. And here we are, finally face to face with Valhazak. And man, these monsters look straight up gross. I jumped right into the fight, and turns out it has this weird life draining ability. I honestly couldn't even figure out how it worked at first. It just kept sucking the life out of me. But thanks to my upgraded Nergigante weapon and armor, the fight was way more manageable. Good thing I farmed the gear first, cause Valhazak actually hits pretty hard. If I came in with weak armor, I probably would have gotten destroyed. I gave it everything I had and finally took Valhazak down. On my last day, we headed back to Elder's Recess to check out those crystal formations again. This time, I was joined by the Huntsman and the Admiral. And then, out of nowhere, this massive monster shows up. At first, no one even knew what it was, but turns out its real name is Xeno'jiiva. And just like that, the fight began. At first, I was just doing my best to damage it, but honestly, it felt like my attacks were not doing anything. After a few failed attempts, I fired an SOS flare again, hoping some hunters would come through, and luckily, some did. Even with help, the fight was insane. This thing is huge, probably the biggest monster I fought in the game. It flies, shoots blue flames, and its attacks are just on another level. We were all doing our best, but the fight dragged on so for long. I actually fainted at one point, so did one of the other hunters. That's how brutal it was. The whole thing was super intense. Eventually, we managed to cut off its tail, which helped a bit. And after what felt like forever, we finally brought Xeno'jiiva down.
Hard, you okay? Hey, Hard!
After everything I went through in Monster Hunter World, the intense battles, the grind, the crazy monsters, this has honestly been one of the most exciting and fun gaming experience I had. And with that, My 100 days in Monster Hunter World finally come to an end. And that's it, 100 days in Monster Hunter World. From my first Jagras hunt to facing off against the mighty Xeno'jiiva, every moment was a challenge. Every battle a thrill. I fainted, grinded for hours, called for backup, and pushed my gear to the limit. All just to survive in world ruled by monsters. But hey, after all that chaos, I'm still standing. So did I survive Monster Hunter World? Barely, but damn, what a ride. Thanks for joining me on this journey. If you enjoyed the hunt, don't forget to drop a like, subscribe, and maybe even share your wildest MHW moment in the comments. Until the next hunt, stay sharp hunter. See you in the Iceborne. Shee.